you don't lose the character quirks. And they still kept true to a lot of things like Cyan saying thou.
Right. And important lines that people remember and stuff like that. But yeah, Chrono Trigger Retranslation Project doesn't really...
misses the point.
I'm sorry. They don't need to die in the fire.
Maybe they can be mutilated a little.
Yeah.
That'd be toasty.
Okay. Just to kind of get them into, whip into shape a little bit.
I really liked about Chrono Trigger was, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of the conversation, but like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Just the fact that after you play through, because they do have a lot of little sections where what you do in the game affects, well, one, the multiple endings, and then two, just like little things throughout the game. Like right in the beginning, Millennium Fair, in other games, you could like steal people's shit all the time, like with no consequence. But right in the beginning, you got that guy's packed lunch, and then if you eat it, it comes back to bite you in your ass later.
No, not really. It doesn't make much change.
I know, but still, the fact that the game acknowledges the fact that you took that guy's lunch, that's something really cool, and it really surprised me. So like after you play the game, you go back and like, this time I'm not going to steal that guy's lunch. I'm going to be a nice person this time,
Well, I liked one of the endings, the number of cats that Chrono's mother would chase to the portal was dependent on how much cat food you had got earlier. It was just such a ridiculous detail.
Yeah, but that's exactly one of the great things about the game is that it has so many hooks for replayability.
It rewards you for being involved.
Yes, you have the New Game Plus, you have the multiple endings, and then you have just constant little changes that happen throughout the game, and you don't even notice them maybe the first time, but then you do something slightly differently and it changes up. You also have rewards for trying to break the game. Like if you think, I wonder if I can do this, and you try it, and you actually manage to pull it off, something will happen. Like if you start up a New Game Plus and say, you know what, I could go to Lavos right now. I wonder if I could win if I fought Lavos at the beginning of the game with just Chrono. If you can pull it off, you get a special ending for doing that.
Right.
You can also try to fight Lavos in the Undersea Palace at the middle of the game.
And actually win
which is supposed to be impossible, but if you fight long enough, you will eventually win. I've done this, and it took like 20 minutes. But it was worth it because I was like, wow, I didn't think I could do that, but I totally could, and they accounted for that, and they gave me an ending for it.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy games do not have separate endings. Like, that was just something that it just doesn't... Thank you.
I know that's your favorite Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah. I don't even count that as a Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy
It's really more Chrono Trigger in spirit.
To that point, had not yet become trash and did not have separate endings in 1995.
Final Fantasy
It was very much, it's a linear story. This is what happens.
10-2 is very relevant to this discussion because it's very much in keeping with the spirit of Chrono Trigger. It's
which is
lighthearted. Well, no, it has more TNA than Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, Isla was not wearing a lot.
I thought that was so awesome.
I need to thank her for all that cosplay, too.
Yeah.
It's not what you need to see.
I don't mind
just Harry.
Cosplay.
No,
yeah,
but
they got that part right.
But 10-2 is one of the few games that I really think kind of carries on the spirit of Chrono Trigger, which might seem a strange thing to say, but it's very lighthearted. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It has a really cool combo-driven battle system with 3 characters kind of active, very much like Chrono Trigger. It has all the multiple endings that you can go for. It has a New Game Plus. I don't care if you hate it.
So basically,
because you expected it to be something else, but I think it really is kind of a little niche that Square kind of ignores.
So the end result, modern day progeny then of Chrono Trigger is Final Fantasy X-2 and Blue Dragon.
Yeah, no,
not Blue Dragon. Well, taking this back to that,
Blue Dragon is like what happens when creators forget how to do good things.
Oh.
Sad. No, taking it back to like the whole character stereotyping you were talking about earlier, Jeremy, I was actually thinking that's not quite the case in Chrono Trigger. Like, I think up until then, like most RPGs, female characters are almost always magic healer types, and Nadia / Marl fits that perfectly. But then you have Isla, which can't use magic, period, and she's just this like strong leader of her village. I think that's really awesome. I remember really liking her, and I was like, wow, this is like a chick, although she is very scantily clad, but she's cool with it, you know. And she can beat.
They didn't have a lot of clothes back then. It's 60 million years ago.
You know, the guys were
they
just
were lucky to have
scantily
some.
clad, so I guess it was equal. And I'm just like, that's pretty cool that there's a strong female character there that can just beat people up if you want it to.
It's very Hellenic, a very matriarchal society. Lost to time. Very tragic.
There are a lot of strong female characters in Chrono Trigger. I thought that was always cool.
No, Luca is also kind of not playing the type. She's the brainy, intelligent one. Whereas